Good.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Week 9 Sunday preview. We're going to kick it off this week with Indianapolis at New England. In this game, I took the Colts to win 24-14. I think the Patriots' offense is a run-heavy offense. They can't rely on their quarterbacks as much as they wish they could. And the Colts stopped the run pretty well. They've got DeForest Buckner up front, and this is Kwity Paye's first week back. Little side note on Kwity Paye, this is the first game his mother's ever got to go to. He was raised in the Providence area. So he's going to have, they said, over 20 family members in attendance to see if he plays a little harder, trying to show out for them.
Nice.
And but the Colts will be out without Jonathan Taylor. This is the first week without offensive coordinator Marcus Brady, who got fired this past week. So now Frank Reich, the head coach, will be calling all the plays on offense and trying to coach the team.
Do you think Zach Moss is going to get any time?
I don't think Zach Moss will see the ball. Deion Jackson should get a lot of touches. Zach Moss might make a few catches, and I'm pretty sure Philip Lindsay is still on the roster, so he might get a few touches. But it's going to be a lot of Deion Jackson. The Patriots, I just don't think the Patriots are going to have the offense to be able to keep up with the Colts. Things will be the first time that we looked pretty good last week on offense, and this week the young quarterback's only going to get better.
I actually picked New England in this one. I picked New England to take this one 19-14. I just think you guys are still working with the rookie. I think it's going to take a little more.
It's second year.
Second year. I'm sorry. Is it? I keep forgetting that. I forgot he was on the roster last
Learn
year.
the names. Sam Ellinger's good.
Either way, I think without Taylor, it's going to be an uphill struggle. No matter the thing is, if New England comes out bad with Mac Jones, they can bring in Zappy, and Belichick's already shown he's comfortable doing that if he has to. And he's a solid guy over there. I know New England is a little banged up. I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game, but I do think Stevenson is pretty good over in New England. They got a good, they can lean on him a little in the run game. I know Harris is injured, but. I took New England in this one. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game, a little close, but we'll see how it turns out. Our next game is actually the LA Chargers in Atlanta. Obviously, I think I made it clear I was going to take Atlanta, but I actually think Atlanta's going to be healthy. We have Cordero Patterson back this week. So we're going to actually have a healthy young roster of guys, ready to play. London's coming around, Pitt's doing well. Mariota's managing the game well. We do have a few injuries on defense, but our secondary is a little banged up. But the receiving core over in LA is a bit banged up too. Keenan Allen's going to be out on this one, and Michael Williams is out for the year.
I chose the Falcons to win this game as well. I took them 26-17. Atlanta is without A.J. Terrell, their number one cover cornerback. However, there's no one to cover on the Chargers because they're out Mike Williams, out Keenan Allen, and out their starting tight end, Donald Parham Jr.
Yeah.
So they pretty much only have Austin Eckler as their attack weapon. Where Atlanta's actually very healthy on offense. They got Drake London there. They just got out from the Calvin Ridley drama, so they don't ever have to worry about is he going to come back next year? Is it what's going on with that? They just got rid of him. Patterson's back. Kyle Pitts is starting to find a groove. He's caught a couple touchdowns now.
Yeah.
And Mariota, he looks like at least an average quarterback. He's a quarterback that can win games for Atlanta, and he keeps them as a competitive team. He's better than a lot of people give him credit for.
And all we really have to do right now is stay ahead of Tampa Bay to hold on the division. So, it's I'll take it however it comes.
If both teams were healthy, I'd probably lean more towards the Chargers, but because of the circumstances, Atlanta should be able to win this game.
Yeah, I believe so too. Again, Keenan Allen, I know he popped in a little bit in the game last week, but he was on a snap count. He wasn't really happy with it. Said he's not going to come back till he's 100% to play because he doesn't want to be on a snap count. So
if I'm going to play, put me in there.
Yep. So he's going to be sitting out another week again. So I just think Atlanta's got the edge here in this one.
Next game is Miami versus Chicago at Chicago, and I took Chicago to make an upset win. I know it's a bold guess, but this is my bold guess of the week. Chicago will beat Miami 31-27. I've liked the way Chicago's offense looked in the past few weeks. It seems like they're stop putting as much emphasis on making Justin Fields a pocket quarterback. They don't care if he could throw the ball that well right now. They're kind of just calling a lot of creative short routes for him. RPOs, let him make defenders uncomfortable. They let him play more comfortable in his style, and it seems to be working at least the past 2 weeks.
Well, I agree their offense does look a little better the last couple weeks. Also, They were missing Allen Robinson. They were really missing that other guy over there because Mooney's having an okay year. Not great, not standout, but he's definitely the number one over there.
Yeah,
But they just traded for Chase Claypool, and it's going to be interesting to see how they work him into that offense. It's two definitely very different offenses. Miami's got that crazy downfield deep play. These Waddle and
Mostert is very fast out the backfield.
Mostert, yeah, I have Mostert on fantasy, and he's he has his games where he comes out the gate and he just goes. But I took Miami in this one though. I think Miami, the way they're scoring, the way Hill's playing, the way Waddle's playing.
With Tua in the lineup, they look very good, very good.
Yeah, so I took Miami in this one, 35-17. I think Chicago's not a bad team. It's going to be interesting to see how they work Claypool into his first game, but. Even then, I don't think the chemistry is going to be right away, but it definitely. I think their offense is developing into a better, offense over there. So maybe we'll see more.
The next game that we have on Sunday is going to be Carolina at Cincinnati. Now this is an interesting game. It's Carolina, which is like a bombshell of a team. Everyone saw what they did. They just got rid of everyone, but they've been playing well since everyone left. So that's interesting about them. And then Cincinnati's an injured team, and their O-line doesn't work well right now. They're not protecting Joe Burrow, so. A game where it looked like Cincinnati probably should run away with it. I think it's going to be a lot closer, and I picked Cincinnati still to win 16-10, but I think it's going to be a really close game.
Again, I think you did point out some, Chase is out. Cincinnati got beat up by Cleveland pretty bad last week. They didn't look good at all without Chase in the lineup. And it's the first time he's really been out of the lineup since he's been
a big
playing.
Part of that game was Cleveland's D-line absolutely dominated Bengals O-line.
And Carolina, this is one of those things that sometimes this is an addition by subtraction kind of situation because I think their offense had gotten so wrapped around Christian McCaffrey for years that he's become literally the nucleus of the entire offense. So everything was ran through him or all these plays were tiered to try to get him, and you lose focus of the rest of the talent on the team. And I mean, they literally had a fire sale. They got rid of him. They got rid of Anderson. They moved a bunch of guys around, and it actually made the team better. It seems like
they beat Tampa, and then they took Atlanta to the wire. Yeah, they had two opportunities to beat Sean.
They got beat by a stupid penalty at the end of the game, which I'm not upset about, but it was a dumb penalty. If he had just after making the catch after Moore made, if he had just kept his wits about him, it would have been a layup game where we got stymied by a point, but.
Who do you got? Carolina or Cincinnati?
I took Carolina 20-15 in this one, but it's again I like the way Carolina's playing. I like the way that they're again working this offense with these guys that that they've always been there for them, but they just didn't really seem to know that they were around. So I like it, man. We'll see what happens. What's our next game? Green Bay Detroit. Right. Green Bay Detroit. Now, I'm pulling. I took Green Bay in this one. I think it's going to be 21-20. I think it's going to be one of those ones again. I don't think Green Bay's going to be dominant in the game, but I think if they can keep it close, Rodgers will be able to push them, over towards at the end. I'm actually rooting for. I want Rodgers to win this game just because I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I think Rodgers is getting old. I think he's around a bunch of young guys. There's not as much chemistry as he's used to, and they do have a bit of an injury bug over there. Bakhtiari's not back 100%. He doesn't seem it anyway, so his protection isn't what it used to be. And he's kind of, he's taken a couple hits this season already that have kind of, remember when Brett Favre was taking those hits in Minnesota and you're kind of wincing every time he got hit? He's had a couple of those this year, I don't hate Brett Favre. I don't hate Aaron Rodgers, dude. I'd like to see the guy win. I think that he is a talented guy. Detroit also is coming in with a pretty healthy roster, so they do put up points, they just don't win. So I think this is going to be an interesting game, but I'm taking Green Bay to edge them out.
I'm actually taking Detroit, and it's just because there's two teams in this league that have just been really torturing me lately, and it's the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Green Bay Packers. It's Brady and Rodgers, and all these games like Green Bay against the Giants. Everyone expected Green Bay to win that game. Now the Giants are having a great season, but still, they couldn't beat the Giants. Then Green Bay against the Jets. They lost that game as well. Then Green Bay against Buffalo. And I know every one of those teams have very good records, but the Giants and Jets were like shocker games.
Washington.
And then Green Bay against Washington, that one too. These are all games I expected Green Bay to win, and they just keep biting me in the ass. So this is another game Green Bay should win, but I'm gonna take Detroit to win it, 28-17.
Tough one. Buffalo, New York is going to be our next game here.
New York Jets.
Yes, Jets. Sorry. I think Buffalo. This is a division game. I think Buffalo is really. I don't think the Jets are going to be the kind of team that stops Buffalo right now. Again, I think I made it clear every week, week in and week out. I think Buffalo is probably the front runner for the Super Bowl. I think they're one of the most Super Bowl ready teams, and they're only adding. They might seem like little pieces here and there, but I guarantee it'll make a difference. Watch, like Naheem Hines, they just picked up in a trade for Zach Moss, and I think that's going to be. I think you'll be really impressed to see how they work him in, stuff like that. These little tiny pieces. Their offense is good. Their defense is good. I took Buffalo in this one, 30-20. I also think, unfortunately, as much as I love Sauce Gardner, I think this is going to be probably his biggest test so far.
Well, he's got to guard Diggs this game.
He's got to guard Diggs this game, and it's not gonna be easy. And I think you're gonna get in a situation here where, even firing all cylinders, I think Sauce is unfortunately gonna give up his first touchdown this week. But who knows? He might be the guy to shut Diggs down. But the problem with that is he's still got Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox to deal with. So again, but I'm taking Buffalo.
I took Buffalo as well, but this is going to be a really close game. Buffalo will win this one 24-23. The Jets is a divisional opponent, and the Jets are trying to prove that they belong this year. They're a bunch of young. It's a group of a bunch of young guys, and I think they're hungry. They want to show, even though they're young and not as experienced, that they want to win. They play hard, and if the D-line can get to Josh Allen and slow him down a little, the Jets might be able to make a few turnovers this game.
You're going to see James Robinson as a starter in this one.
He's questionable. We'll see. But I think they'll be able to keep it close. Buffalo is, in my opinion, the better team here, so they should be able to win it in the end. So
I think Buffalo's a better team in everybody's opinion here, but even if
there's
you're
a few
Jets
teams
fan,
that it's debatable.
even if you're a Jets fan, I think you'd be like, yeah, Buffalo's better than us, but we're going to win anyway.
Another 1 o'clock game is going to be Minnesota at Washington. Now, Washington's played really well with Taylor Heineke. He's 2-0 since coming in for Carson Wentz. But this is a real test for them. Minnesota's 6-1, and they've got a lot of really good weapons like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and they just picked up T.J. Hockenson, right?
Yep,
yeah, they just got
Hockenson.
T.J. Hockenson in the middle. I think
Harrison Smith on the other side of the ball, the guy's an animal.
I think Minnesota really rounded out their offense by picking up Hockenson. That was a really good pickup, and they're gonna wallop the Commanders 34-13. Their defense is good enough to where we're going to see Heineke make a few mistakes, maybe a fumble on a sack, and Minnesota should be able to cruise to a convincing win against Washington.
I took Minnesota as well in this game. Not as high scoring. I think it's going to be probably more like a 19-14 game is what I picked here. I just don't think it really depends on which Kirk Cousins you get. You get the Kirk Cousins that comes out and completes 17 straight passes and scores, 3 times in 4 drives, then, or you get the guy who comes out and looks more like Alex Smith out there. He's a game manager. But either way, Jeffries is still on the field. Thielen's been a little bit injured, back and forth on the injury bug. But Cook hasn't really impressed me much this season. I know he's had a couple of good games, but he's for a team that's 6-1.
They're pacing him. They're pacing him so they got him for the playoffs. He gets hurt a lot.
He does.
You got to keep him healthy for the playoffs.
But
I have seen a lot of Madison coming in, the backup running back in Minnesota. He's definitely played an increased share of snaps this year compared to previous years.
But I think as a 6-1 team, you can't look at them. You can't. Our 7-1 team now. 7-1? No,
they had their
bye week, so 6-1. Yeah, so at 6-1, I think there's still you can't really consider anybody on the team to be having a bad season. So I go with Minnesota, but I think Washington's going to be in the game for a while. It's just Minnesota's going to be the team to win.
This next game is Las Vegas Raiders against the Jaguars, and the Raiders should be coming out hungry after not being able to put up a single point against the Saints last week. I took the Raiders to come back and bounce back from last week and win this game 23-20. It's a game against two teams with bad records, and the Raiders are actually one of the saddest stories I've seen in a long time. This team they're not good.
It's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, man. They look great on paper, but in real life they're a fucking monster, dude. It's just gross. It's sad. it's so bad to see what's happening on the field. Last week they got shut out by New Orleans, and there's no real excuse. Darren Waller was on the field, and the only thing that you can say about that is at least he can be like, "Hey, it wasn't my fucking fault."
Yeah.
But other
Derek
than
Carr
that,
had one of the worst
terrible.
games a quarterback's
Terrible.
ever had.
Terrible. Devontae Adams, they just weren't getting him the ball. It was just bad. Jacobs, it seems like if they don't get that running game going, then the rest of it just.
Do you think it's time to put in the backup quarterback over there?
Well, Mariota's gone, so who do they really have?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
anything looks better than what they're putting on the field.
I don't know, but I take the Jags in this one, 24-22. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's just going to be another one of those games where, honestly, I think the Jags are playing better football than the Raiders right now. It just is what it is. But I think they're fairly matched teams right now. Maybe not on paper, but as you've watched them throughout the year, the Jags are more of on an upswing, and the Raiders are kind of on a free fall, and they're at that point where they're meeting just about at the same place, and they're where they're at right now. So I think it's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be actually probably fun to watch, but I think the Jags are going to take it 24-22 in a close one. We only have 2 4 o'clock games this week. The first 4 o'clock game is going to be a Seattle, Arizona. I took Seattle to put it on them in this one, 34-25. I always give Arizona a decent amount of point credit because, for the most part, they're usually playing catch up, and they rely on about a bunch of big plays. And they make some of them. They get some of them. The thing is, if you throw 10 Hail Marys, you're going to come down with 1 or 2, So I'm going to give them their credit. I think they'll put some points on the board. Is Connor playing in this game?
It's questionable.
Questionable still. So, there's some issues over there. Seattle's coming in healthy. Everybody's playing. I mean,
except Marquise Goodwin.
Yeah, well, yeah. But you have Walker.
He had 2 touchdowns the other week.
Walker the third is playing.
The week DK went out at halftime, he had 2 touchdowns in that game.
But the rookie over there, he's looking great. Seattle's just really firing on all cylinders, and a lot of it has to do with the increase, the increasing quality of play of Geno Smith this year, really. Because honestly, if the same guy who's taking snaps last year was playing this year, even with the talent around him, they wouldn't be where they're at. But they're doing well, and I'm going to stick with them.
Yeah, he's got to let people know whatever off-season program he did, because more quarterbacks got to hit that program, because it turned Geno's whole career around.
Yeah, he's last year he was a laughing stock. People were making fun of him because he was out, he was playing for a while.
He fumbled the ball and looked at his hands. He's like, where'd it go?
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, he was a meme. He was a pun for a while. But at this point, he's definitely made himself a little more serious. And Seattle and as a team, I think everybody thought that they were going to be coming out struggling, dude. They lost Russ. They lost Russ. They lost Carson in preseason. Retired early. They lost Penny. Mid-season.
They didn't know if DK was going to resign.
Yeah, there was a lot going on here, and for a team that looked like they were just up in the air coming into the season.
And they lost Jamal Adams week 1.
Mm-hmm. For a team that again, they just looked like they were. It was just going to be like a whatever. We'll take whatever we can get out of the year kind of team. Are legitimate contenders.
Shout out to Pete Carroll. He got those boys playing hard.
Yeah.
But I actually took Arizona in this game. I took them 27-26. It's going to be a really close game. Arizona has looked a lot better since DeAndre Hopkins has come back. I got to give them credit. They were almost 2-0. They lost to a Minnesota team that's 6-1 last week. So they were competitive and fighting with them the whole game, and just Minnesota outlasted them. So I have Arizona. They're playing another team in Seattle that's playing really well. But I do think with DeAndre Hopkins back in the lineup, they'll be able to do enough to win this game.
Okay, so I know you're probably factored in their defense, which you should, because T.J. Watt's healthy, or J.J. Watt is healthy and all these guys. But does Arizona look like a better team, or does DeAndre Hopkins look better?
Oh, no, I actually did lose a lot of respect for Kyler Murray just because I think it's all DeAndre Hopkins. Mm-hmm. He didn't look that good in his first year when he played, and then the second year he looked fantastic, but Hopkins came over. And then this year, then after Hopkins got injured at the end of last year, he missed the last 7 weeks in the playoff game, and they only won one game that he wasn't in. This year, when the season started, they were struggling to win anything. They had a 2-3 record, 2-4 record when Hopkins came back, and immediately the entire team is playing better. I think Hopkins is the heart and soul of that entire team. The entire team runs on him. This next game is a game of underperforming teams that were supposed to be really good this year.
Yeah,
The Los Angeles
in another
Rams.
dimension, this is a game of the week, but in this dimension, this week, it's not.
Yeah, it's a game people probably don't even want to watch, but still, it's the LA Rams taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I got this was a hard one for me to pick, but I got the Bucks winning 17-14. I don't know what's going on over there in Tampa because Tom Brady still has plenty of games over 300 yards. They're moving the ball, but Tampa's one of the lowest scoring offenses in the NFL. So they can't get something right in the final 20 yards. The red zone's killing them.
The deep plays aren't there. I mean, we've seen Mike Evans in the last couple weeks drop wide open passes.
Tampa Bay's amongst the league leaders for teams in yardage per game, but
there's
bottom
the
in
deep plays
scoring.
the deep plays are down. Brady's only got 10 touchdowns on the season right now. It's rough.
Yeah, it's almost one touchdown a game.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got to remember they got shut out one game, and they got they had the field goal.
They had 3 points, but they were kept out of the end zone.
He didn't score. He had a few, I think 2 games maybe where he didn't score this year. But this is one of those it's
but
two
the
teams.
Rams haven't been able to score this year either.
You're dealing with 2 teams here that are both what the hell's going on here teams where you just look at them and you're like, what the hell's going on here? The Rams are dealing with all kinds of issues.
Well, Cup's out.
Cup's injured. You're in a situation where you have Cam Akers is.
Yeah, their running back gave up on the team or something.
They gave up. They were going to trade him. He was supposed to be gone, and then the trade deadline came and went, and he didn't. So now they're inviting him back to the team.
Allen Robinson, other than one game, hasn't looked good.
Yeah, they really didn't do much during free agency. Before the trade deadline, they didn't make any real moves.
You know who really didn't turn out to be what I expected is the Rams had an up-and-coming tight end, Tyler Higbee. I thought he was going to be a lot better.
I thought he was going to be more productive this year.
And he has not been the guy that they thought he was going to be.
No, and this one's and then Tampa Bay again. It's a head scratcher because you got Brady's top 3 in receiving yards, passing yards. Yeah, and the offense they look great until it comes time to put points on the board. And then again at the end of the game against Baltimore last week, they're just the penalties, the rookie mistakes, that the veteran players are making. If you see
blame it on the divorce.
No, I don't think any. Honestly, I think it only helps him focus more. That's why I think this week's probably I pulled Tampa Bay 31-20 in this one.
I think they're gonna score.
Yeah, I think Brady's gonna come out mad, and he's gonna, I think you're gonna.
He's been mad all year.
Nah, he's been upset. It's different. It's like being, disappointed and, fucking aggravated, frustrated.
Oh man, he looked mad when he was breaking them
But I think this game, it's one of those. It's gonna be fun to see, but I think it's gonna be because you're gonna get to see Tampa Bay be Tampa Bay for the first time in a little while.
I chose 17-14 because Bucks haven't been able to score, but the Rams without Cup is gonna be real hard for them to put points on the board.
Yeah. I don't expect too much out of these guys. This game, I think, is probably the game of the week, just based on all the other matchups.
Both teams only have 2 losses.
Yeah, both teams only have 2 losses. You're coming at what should have been round 2 playoff game last year, but Tennessee got or round 3 it should have probably been, but Tennessee got bumped. They were in the 1 seed, and then they got wiped out. And then
by Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Or you probably would have saw this game in the playoffs last year. And both teams it's pretty healthy right now. Obviously, Kansas City's not the team it was last year, but this is still going to be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, Kansas City's doing just fine.
Yeah, but without Hill, they're not the same team.
They lead the NFL in deep balls. They actually have more deep balls in the start of this season than they had all last season, and they had Hill last season. So without Hill, they're actually getting more deep passes.
Yeah. Either way, I took Kansas City in this one, 24-20. I think Henry's going to do his rush, do his thing on the ground. But you have a rookie quarterback. The kid didn't look good last week. I don't think he's going to look much better this week. Until Tannehill gets back in the offense, it's going to be hard to lean in their direction in this matchup.
I took Kansas City 31-20. Kansas City's offense looks great this year. Mahomes is in the running for MVP. And Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, is a real aggressive defensive coordinator. And with the rookie quarterback in, having pressures coming at him all the time, if they can't get Derrick Henry going, this game will get ugly really quick.
Well, I think Henry will get his yards, but Henry's not going to be able to, I don't think Henry by himself is going to be able to beat Kansas
Well, that's the
City.
key. I think the big key to this game for both sides of the ball is Derrick Henry. Kansas City needs to stop him, and Tennessee needs to get him going. Because if Kansas City could slow Henry down, like I said, this game will get ugly. I don't think Malik Willis is going to be able to play with Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's the problem. Is I don't think either way the passing game. It's gonna be one of those stat lines where the kid completes like 10 passes in the game or something. Monday night game. We were looking at the Monday night 8 o'clock game is Baltimore versus New Orleans. I took New Orleans as 27-19. New Orleans just came out pretty seriously last week and shut out Vegas. They're playing well. There's one of the teams that every week they kind of surprise me that they're still winning. I mean, last week they had Michael Thomas
they do
and
have a
Jarvis.
losing record.
Michael Thomas and Jarvis are both out, and they shouldn't have had a chance. Instead, they came out and blew these guys up. They really leaned on Kamara. Thomas, unfortunately, is on IR. He's going to be getting surgery on his foot. He's going to be out for the rest of the season, it looks like.
I think it's funny because he used to talk a lot of shit as a receiver to other receivers, and even his handle on Twitter is "can't guard Mike." But I guess you don't have to guard Mike because he's not playing football.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But Jarvis did practice all week, some limited, some not, and it looks like he's going to be healthy enough to play the game. He's expected to play tomorrow. So I think with a few extra weapons on offense, I think Andy Dalton, who's should have been back on the bench when Jameis was healthy 2 weeks ago. He's managed to put up points. They're scoring. Things are clicking. They just shut out Vegas, so they're going to keep the Red Rocket in there. And
I took Baltimore to win this game, 22-20. I think it's going to be kind of low scoring. New Orleans has a pretty good defense, but Baltimore just picked up Roquan Smith to already go for a defense that has a lot of really good pieces. Having a big, very physical, smart, fast linebacker in the middle of the field is what they were missing. Baltimore has always been a team. They had Ray Lewis for years. They like to have that hard-hitting linebacker in the middle. Yeah, Terrell Suggs was on the team. Baltimore likes their linebackers, and they just found one. And they got him for a bargain, too.
Mm-hmm.
So this should be a lower-scoring game. If Mark Andrews was playing, maybe I think Baltimore put up some more. But they're dealing with some injuries on the offensive side. Lamar will be able to get it done, though, and he'll be able to beat
Bateman's
Andy
out,
Dalton.
too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so they're missing a lot of weapons in Baltimore's side of the ball.
At the end of the day, it's Lamar versus Andy Dalton, and I got to go with Lamar.
No, that's fine. We do want to mention this is there are shorter game, less games.
There's not
this
as
week.
many games this week.
Yeah, sorry, just butting it up.
Short.
But the bye week, we got 6 teams on a bye week this week, so we're missing a lot. We're missing a lot of football.
We got the Browns out this week, the Cowboys are out, the Broncos are out, the Giants are out, the Steelers, and the 49ers aren't playing.
Yeah, so you're gonna not, this is a week where you don't have to worry
no
about
McCaffrey.
Yep.
We don't get to see the Giants play again because they've been exciting this year. No Nick Chubb for you
Chubb's
fantasy
going to get
owners.
some rest, which is dangerous because his rest is right in the middle of the season. So
Dallas Cowboys, you guys are missing out on Dak and that defense. So.
it's going to give, Denver's going to give them a week to regroup, kind of.
It's not a big deal for anybody in fantasy because nobody was starting anyone on the Broncos anyway.
No, Judy. People still start Jerry Judy.
Yeah, that's true.
They
Judy gets some play.
But
And then the Steelers doesn't make too much of an impact either.
no, it'll give them kind of a week to.
I do want to see more McCaffrey on the 49ers, though.
Well, this will give Pickett a week to kind of fucking get a little practice in, work a little bit on the office, make some tweaks, stuff like that. They're not this week, when you can get a full straight week of just practice and not game prep for new teams and stuff, really work on. It's hard to change game plans and schemes midweek and stuff like that. Where that's what if you're smart, you got a good coaching staff. This would be a good opportunity to take what they've seen out of him for the season, evaluate it, and use this week to make some adjustments. So because they have the time to, so that maybe they can come out and have a strong second half and make themselves not necessarily a contender, but at least somebody that's not considered to be like a bottom feeding team right now. Maybe put Najee on some weight gainer and get him a little tougher.
You know who needs a bye week right now?
Who?
Green Bay.
Yeah.
They need a bye week.
Yeah.
But that's going to wrap up our Sunday preview. Everyone watch the games and watch the video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and have a nice night.
Enjoy football, sports fans. Have a good one. Midweek, mid-season.